The one rule behind my signature mushroom ravioli is duality. Great dishes are not built on one note, but on contrast and pairing. So in this mushroom ravioli, I use two of everything to make the dish deeper, richer, and more complete. I'm making this for my 6th subscriber who requested ravioli all the way back on my first video, so this one is dedicated to them. The ingredients you need are 1 block of aged cheese, 375 grams of ricotta cheese, 300 milliliters of thickened cream, 4 eggs, 2 onions, 8 cloves of garlic, 10 dried shiitake mushrooms, 8 white cap mushrooms, chives, and enough sweet potato leaves or spinach to fill a large bowl. And lastly, rum or whiskey. We start with the first dough, made with just eggs and the 00 flour. Crack 2 eggs into a bowl, weigh them, add a pinch of salt and whisk until combined. Ensure you record the weight of the eggs. Next, form a well with the 00 flour. For this dough, I'm using a ratio of 1.45 grams of flour for every 1 gram of egg. Pour the eggs into the well, then gradually add in the flour from the outside as you stir. Keep mixing until the mixture starts to come together and become stiff. Then use a dough scraper to bring in the remaining flour and form it into a dough. Keep working with the scraper until a rough ball starts to form. At this point, switch to your hands and begin kneading. Start by kneading the dough gently, folding the dough back onto itself and pressing it down. Once it becomes less crumbly, apply more force and switch to folding it forward with one hand while pressing down with the other. Alternatively, you can knead by folding and pressing at the same time with both hands. Keep kneading until the dough is relatively smooth and springs back when poked. This should take around 5 to 10 minutes. Then wrap the dough in cling wrap and let it rest in the fridge for a minimum of 1 hour. Following our principle of duality, we now make the second dough. Start by blanching 1 handful of sweet potato leaves or spinach for around 20 seconds before removing and soaking in an ice bath or running it under cold water. Next, throw it into a blender with 2 beaten eggs, then blend it together before taking it out and weighing the mixture. Then repeat the same steps we did for the previous dough, but this time use a higher flour ratio. I'm using a ratio of 1.75 grams of flour per 1 gram of mixture. The higher flour ratio accounts for the additional water content in the mixture from the sweet potato leaves. This second dough will take a longer time to knead because of the extra moisture, but you should still knead until it springs back when pressed before wrapping it up and letting it rest in the fridge again. Now re-prepare the ingredients. Start by soaking the dried shiitake mushrooms in water before setting aside. Then slice the chives thinly and set aside. The chives will act as the garnish to our dish. Next, dice the onions, but not too finely. To continue the principle of duality, I'm using 2 alliums here, onions and chives. They come from the same genus but play different roles in the dish. The onions bring sweetness and depth, while the chives add freshness and a lighter aromatic note. After dicing the onions, set them aside. Next, pour the ricotta cheese into a bowl and salt it lightly before giving a gentle stir. For the white cap mushrooms, do not soak them to clean. Instead, just wipe them before dicing the stem and slicing the cap. Dice the very end of each cap. Put the diced parts of the mushrooms into the ricotta cheese and mix. Squeeze the water out of the shiitake mushrooms, then slice them. If the middle stem is too hard, discard the stem. Mix the shiitake mushroom slices with the white cap mushrooms, then set aside. Ensure to keep the water of the dried shiitake mushrooms as we will be using it later. Just like before with the dough, blanch the rest of your sweet potato leaves or spinach, then cool them in an ice bath or under running water. Wring the vegetables dry, then slice them finely. Keeping them small helps the filling stay compact, so each ravioli is easier to feel and seal. Add the blanched vegetables into the ricotta cheese and mix. To add more flavor complexity to this dish, grate in a generous amount of aged cheese. Now we make the raviolis. Dust your work surface with a handful of flour before putting the dough on the surface and pressing down to create a circular shape. I always roll my pasta dough by hand, and honestly, it's not as hard as people think. The trick is to keep it even by rolling the same amount of times from top to bottom and from right to left. Every now and then, you want to roll the dough over the rolling pin, then press down on the edge of the dough and roll it out. This stretches the dough by quite a bit. If the dough starts to retract, don't worry. It simply means the gluten is pulling back, so just keep rolling that area until the dough relaxes and stays in place. A good thickness of the dough would be when it is translucent and you can see a bit of the color of your workbench through the dough. Before cutting the dough, prepare some egg wash, then cut the ravioli shapes using whatever you choose. I'm using a cookie cutter. Wipe the top of one half of the ravioli, then put a teaspoon of filling inside. Stack the filling high but not wide. Then gently lay the other half of the ravioli on top before using a bottle cap to push the shape. Gently press the edges to seal the ravioli. After making the ravioli with both the doughs, you should have more green raviolis than normal ones. Any leftover dough can be reused by adjusting with water and flour accordingly. You can even combine them to create dual-colored ravioli. For cooking one portion, sweat down 1/4 worth of onions on medium to high heat. Once they are golden and are starting to caramelize, push the onions to the edge and in another pot, boil 10 raviolis, 6 green and 4 normal ones in salted boiling water. We will boil the raviolis for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Add more oil into your pan, then sear the mixed mushrooms. Once the mushrooms have browned, grate 1 garlic, then give it a stir before removing the pan from the stove. Add a small amount of rum or whiskey, then carefully flambe it with a blowtorch. This helps burn off the harsh alcohol while leaving behind deeper caramel, oak and spice notes from the spirit. Once the fire has died down, put it back on the stove on medium heat, then add in 3 teaspoons of thickened cream. The ravioli should be cooked by the time the thickened cream has melted. Transfer the raviolis to the pan, then add in a splash of the shiitake water. Add in a pinch of salt, then grate in a generous amount of aged cheese. Once the sauce has thickened, the dish is ready. Sprinkle some chives before serving. Through the use of 2 different doughs, you get 2 different flavors and 2 different textures. The sweet potato leaf ravioli has a hint of oily grassiness that is distinct to the sweet potato leaf. The chives and onions provide a fresh flavor, which is then wrapped by the filling and cream that has been further accentuated through the flavors of the rum and the aged cheese. The mushrooms give a final complex savory flavor.